Hello everyone, welcome. We have finally made it to the 12th house. What an exciting journey it has been doing Ketu videos on all the 12th houses. And I hope everyone is doing good. Welcome. My name is Jaspir, and I am here to help you heal, rise, and live more soul aligned. I help you find your true purpose, your calling, by using astrology, but reaching your soul blueprint. We don't just connect to talk about the transit and stuff. We go on a deeper level to see what it takes you to smile. What's holding you back from becoming the best version of yourself? I always leave my email in the description box below. So if you guys would like to connect, talk, if you want to heal, if you need mentoring, coaching, you want to talk about astrology, give me an email. We'll set up an appointment. And yes, I do personalized readings as well. So today we're talking about the 12th house. And nobody knows the magic of the 12th house unless your Ketu is in the 12th house. If you have Ketu in some of the other houses and you're watching this video just to learn, you might not know the magic that a person feels who actually has Ketu in the 12th house. It's a very special placement. And it's very dangerous. It can get ugly, but it's very special. And just a quick summary. What is the 12th house? People say that, I'm sure you have studied as well, 12th house is a foreign land, isolation, like you want to go to retreats, sit in the mountains, away from the world. 12th house is your dreams, your spirituality is seen from the 12th house, your bed pleasure, romantic life, intimate life is seen from the 12th house. Hospitalization is seen from the 12th house. So, it's the stuff behind closed doors. And some people ask, oh, what's your spiritual routine, sir? What do you do? I just want to advise everybody that keep your spiritual routines, don't share with anybody. Keep your spiritual stuff private. Because it's also the house of bed pleasure, right? You don't go outside talking to everybody what your bedtime, what intimate routine is with your partner. What do you do, how you do and stuff. You don't share with anybody. So don't share your spiritual routine with others as well, because you're opening the doors for judgment. People will not understand your spiritual experience. Now, if you're watching this video and thinking I'm going to talk about moksha, Ketu in the 12th house gave moksha, I'm not going to say the word moksha in this video. This video is not about moksha. 12th house does not give moksha. Moksha is liberation. If you want to learn and talk about moksha, please go watch my video with Ketu in the 11th house. 11th house is the real house of moksha. You gain liberation, right? So how it happens, please go watch my other video, the last one, Ketu in the 11th house. This one, I've always said it, 12th house is the house of your soul, your energetic body, how you start your journey from the universe, from the source pool of energy, the cosmic energy. So you go first house, second, and your soul has been traveling, now you're returning back to home. Your soul body is back with the consciousness. And what Ketu does in the 12th is awaken your higher consciousness all of a sudden. So if you had your Ketu Mahadasha starting, or your spiritual awakening started with Ketu sitting here, it was not an easy placement, right? You probably saw shadows, dark entities. You probably had outer body experience. You probably saw at some point your soul body leave and come back into your body. You probably have very intense lucid dreaming. You probably had, or probably still are having anxiety, sleep issues. A lot of people experience sleep paralysis, and a lot of you experience astral travel. So these phenomena are not your normal day-to-day things I can talk to anybody about. A person with Ketu in the 12th, you cannot talk to your friends in social circle, at work, at home, what you're experiencing. Where does Ketu change you? Ketu is changing you on the inside, on a very spiritual level. All the other houses, Ketu deals with them differently on different levels, but here he's changing you on the inside. and he's isolating you from the world. And I'll talk about that why, because the 8 change comes 8 houses away. But before getting into that, let's just talk about the magic of the 12th house and how powerful it is. A normal human being cannot understand the power of the 12th house. When I do the qualities and the traits of what each house represent, not with Ketu, just overall spiritually or the astrological traits of each house. I'm going to do videos on those later on. But if we talk about the 12th house, it's this pool of energy. Now, how is that energy broken down? It's broken down to consciousness. We have our physical awareness. There's a clicker in front of me. There's my water glass in front of me. My awareness, there's a window, there's cars going by, like our day-to-day life, there's trees. That's your physical awareness. Your consciousness is here in the present moment. Then you have your internal consciousness, where your mind, your emotions, are you feeling sad, angry, hurt, hungry, like all that is on the internal. And then you have the third, the subconsciousness. And this is where the 12th house really sits. The subconsciousness, like the highest of the highest realms of spirituality. And people have panic attacks, anxieties, because they tap into this subconsciousness and they can't get back out, or they touch it and then they see weird things, then they get freaked out, they come back into their consciousness. So Ketu awakens your subconsciousness here, and that's why nobody in the real world understands you. You want to have conversations about the higher realms, the higher dimensions, what you see up there, what's really happening away from this matrix, but nobody's understanding you. So even my video that I'm making on the 12th house, Ketu in the 12th, it's not like any of the other ones, because I'm talking about these higher dimensions and realities, because it's closed doors. Our eyes are shut and magic stuff happens when Ketu's here. And in physical presence, Ketu is just isolating you. Ketu in the 12th, a lot of people become yogis, or they sit away from the world in the mountains, meditate, or they sit in their home. They come home, but they're sitting in the room all day long quietly. They don't want to deal with anybody. But what happens when the doors are shut? Because the 12th house is privacy. You're tapping between dimensions here. And a normal person cannot understand that. So let me briefly explain it to everyday individual here, the one who might not have experienced Ketu full potential at 12. So what it is, imagine the process of electricity. And electricity gets created in a power plant, in a dam, in a powerhouse. Then you got voltage lines, you know, those big triangle towers that are through farmland and on the sides. They're carrying about 120,000 volts in each line. And then there's power centers. And in each city, there's a powerhouse where you're converting the high voltages down to 10,000 volts. Then those lines are coming to our homes and stuff. And then there's mini transformers for each 10 homes or mini communities. We have the transformer where they take the 10,000 volt and they bring it down to 120 volts for each household. In Canada and North America, we're using 120 volts, whereas in India and some countries, it's 220 volts. So you go from 10,000 volts to 120 or 220, depending on the country you're in. So again, the reason I want to bring this electricity example is we're also energetic bodies. And our human body, we're functioning at the 120 volt or the 220, depending on what country you're in. I'm going to use a 120 volt example, very small voltage. We need this energy. That's our Kundalini energy that we use to do daily tasks, think, get our karma done, reproduce, eat. It's the basic energy source. So our body is being fueled and we get recharged when we're sleeping. And sleep is unconscious meditation. Meditation is conscious sleep. So that's why you can heal through meditation. In sleep, we're jumping between dimensions, dream and astral travel. We're not aware. We're not aware of that process. And in meditation, we're able to control all those dimensions. But you have to go really deep. There's different type of consciousness. Now, back to the 120 voltage. So our bodies are functioning on the 120 volt. But Then we go into the higher dimension. Our thoughts and emotions, when we sit quietly, that energetic body is a 10,000 volt. And then once we tap into the subconscious mind now, where the ghosts are, those magical unicorns are, or where we see the saints, the holy figures, or the pure bliss, the highest consciousness. If we talk about energy and power-wise, that's the 100,000 volt. That's the pure bliss consciousness, right? The oneness. Now, if a normal individual who's functioning at 120 volt all of a sudden touches the highest dimension without being grounded, without being guided, what's going to happen? They're going to get fried spiritually. Their cosmic energy is going to become total. If I walk over to a farmland and touch one of those 120,000 volt line, I get fried like a chicken. I'm far from death. My body is roasted, toasted, done. There's no need for cremation process, nothing. My body is toasted right there, smoke. Now, same thing with your consciousness. If you stay in the presence, we're only using 120 volt here. You go into your minds, your emotional body, you're using about 10,000, that type of energy pool. But once you tap into the highest dimension, you got to be ready for it. A lot of the people, that's why when they have the Ketu awakening in a normal world, but they don't go directly into the 100,000 volt. It's a very dangerous process. That's where you got to be really grounded. And that is why a lot of people, forget Ketu Mahadasha for a second, anybody who has a dasha of the 12th house, they know how dangerous it is. Mercury in the 12th house, for example, they're getting this immense knowledge that they want to bring down. If they're not grounded, headaches, they might get little seizures, depending on the place, the sign, the placement, the aspect, and stuff like this. But their mind is open to the alternate realities out there, and they want to be able to communicate, talk, write it down, but they don't know what the hell is happening. We think this life is normal, but they're tapping to the other dimension. So if they don't have the right guidance, these people feel lost. And I'm not going to go into other planets in the 12th house, but it's a very magical placement. So 12th house overall, a normal person cannot understand it. Now, hypnosis. These people that are grounded, they're able to take you into a different state of consciousness. That's done through the 12th house. Doctors use medicine to put you into a different state of consciousness. For example, somebody's about to go to surgery, they use anesthesia to change your consciousness level. You sleep and you're in a different state. You don't even know when you wake up. Psychologists use different type of therapies to go deeper and deeper into the higher level dimensions to understand your behavioral pattern. Sometimes they rewrite your coding. So these people, you, my friend, with Ketu in the 12th, if you're watching this and you've been feeling so lonely and you want to talk to people about the higher dimensions, higher attacks, this knowledge that's coming to you, and people are just saying, what's wrong with you? Stay quiet. Write it down. Talk to someone like me, or a spiritually grounded person, someone who gets you. You want to talk to someone else with Ketu in the 12th, or someone who has a 12th house activated, or someone who's very spiritually high up there. Now, a person who's having spiritual experiences and they end up going to a therapist, they're going to put them on some kind of medication because they think they've lost it up here. I quickly want to talk about, if Ketu's in the 12th, who's sitting in the 6th house? Rahu, right? And people think, oh, it's one of the best placements to destroy enemies and stuff. But who's fueling that Rahu? Where is Rahu able to get the plans of attack? It's Ketu. When a military is going to attack on a different country, or some kind of fight's going to happen, where do the generals come? They come in a little tent. They make a blueprint. Our enemy's over here. We're going to attack with this. When the one-on-one planning happens, that's your Ketu. You got to go inward. If you're facing enemies, death, any other issues of the sixth house throughout life, go inward and you can heal yourself. You can come up with a plan of attack if you listen to your intuition. Your intuition will guide you who's right and wrong. There's no one bigger than you yourself. You just need someone to remind you that these dimension jumping that you are able to do, it's a very intense process and it's a beautiful process, but there's a controlled way of doing it. Now, I want to use an example that some people use to bypass or skip the whole meditation awakening process stuff. People end up taking drugs. I don't know all the drugs that can give you the magic into these dimensions, but I think drugs like mushrooms, they can give you a nice trip or a high where you're able to tap into different dimensions and see what really exists out there. The problem is, if you do too much of these drugs, you end up in a coma, right? Because you're not able to come back to your consciousness, this physical form. Your consciousness is lost somewhere else now. If somebody does too much cocaine, they end up in a brain dead or coma. Look at the spiritual impact resulting in a physical symptom. Spiritually, this energetic body, you're taking it into that 100,000 realm voltage so suddenly with these drugs. Sometimes people are not able to come back into their physical consciousness. You think you're having a good trip or a high for, I don't know how long these drugs last, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, I don't know. But that's one of the worst things you can do for your physical body and your spiritual body. So do not ever do drugs to experience the spiritual high or the different worlds, because God forbid, if you don't come back, coma. And in today's world, you're not going to find many spiritual gurus who are able to tap into the higher dimensions to be able to bring back a lost son, a lost daughter, a lost mother, father, whoever has lost consciousness, they end up in a coma. Spiritually heightened people were around thousands of years ago, but today they're hidden. They don't even know themselves. Some of you have such beautiful spiritually aligned charts that I talk to. Some of you are waking up to the higher truth, but the society is not accepting you. Husband and wife, for example, if a wife is spiritually inclined, she's a tantric lady, and the husband wants to work, but Ketu's not letting her work because Ketu wants to awaken those higher spiritual potentials inside this individual. And I use the word tantric, but I don't want you thinking tantric means black magic. It's a change of state. I want to do a separate video on that. It's beautiful. It's how you're changing the state of reality in a positive way. And in today's world, going back to the point, it's very hard to find someone who's spiritually up there that can take you on an astral travel while being awake, or someone that can help you come back to your current state of consciousness. Because if you end up alone in the highest dimension, you get fried, you get toasted. Now, if from a spiritual perspective, in a very beautiful, calming way, let me talk about the consciousness, right? I've talked about the physical awareness, the conscious, the subconsciousness, but there's some other ones, like a simple one. There's awaking. When we're awake, our consciousness is awake. And whatever we are observing with our eyes open, that's the awake consciousness here. And there could be different names in the spiritual text in Sanskrit, but I'm not going to get into that to keep this video short. Then, so awake consciousness, then we're dreaming. When we close our eyes, we fall asleep, then the first stage of dreaming. And then we go into our inner world. But that's not controlled. That's totally uncontrolled. We don't know what we're dreaming, where we're dreaming. Then we get into the deep sleep, the REM sleep, it's called REM sleep. And there's different layers to that as well. But when we're in deep sleep, it's pure bliss. There's no ego there. And only our consciousness is traveling between dimensions. And beyond that, when we're awake, we're in a meditative state, there's pure awareness. That's a state. Then there's cosmic consciousness. In that state, you feel the unity with the oneness, with all the creation of the God. You feel connection with the trees, the plants, the animals. Then the higher consciousness than that is what we call the God, the Christ consciousness or the Krishna consciousness that exists out there. And with that, you're living so purely, so divinely, that you become like the ones who have, the masters that have lived before us, the gurus. And then the ultimate, it's called the non-duality type of consciousness. And you are the one. You become part of the oneness, the highest consciousness at that level. So these are the looking at this consciousness from a spiritual perspective, right? And 12th house, that's why I keep saying it's very scary, because only an individual with Ketu in the 12th, probably write me in the comments or others can understand what kind of scary, crazy things did you see. You saw ghosts, you saw body shadows walking around, or your body was shaking when you're trying to sleep, or you're jumping between different dimensions and you saw different planets, different aliens. Like, what's going on with you? What is it? How did your 12th house get awakened in Ketu? I really want to know. I can relate with you because I have one of my Ketu placements is in the 12th house in one of my divisional charts. I have some other linkage with the 12th house, my 8th lord in the 12th in some of the charts. I love the 6, 8, 12 houses. I made a very intense video with Ketu in the 6th with the health and the past life traumas that get carried over, very detailed. The 8th house, I've talked about the trauma. A normal person cannot understand the depth of the pain of a person, someone whose 8th house is awakened. Now, 8th lord in the 12th, you can take that consciousness so deep like the Scorpion energy where a normal person cannot even travel to. And I have a stellium in the 12th house in one of the charts. I'm not going to say which planets are there, what's doing what, where the Lord is and stuff. So I like, again, 12th house, keep it private. I just like to know that you're not alone when you're feeling all these things here. It's a very magical placement. So, if we talk about the medical world with the 12th house, I quickly mentioned hypnosis. People can do it from here, but medically, if you're in too high drugs, if you're not able to come back to the present consciousness, you end up in a coma. That means your consciousness is lost somewhere else. Only a very spiritual inclined person can beat the medical system to be able to bring you back into the body. Most of the time, what happens when somebody's in coma and they're like, oh, this person's gone, let's unplug it, and off they go. Okay, their physical body goes, but let me tell you, that person is not gone. They're just lost. Their consciousness is lost somewhere else. Brain dead also happens. Now, in psychologist or somebody who's really in, let's say, the dreaming world, there's the REM sleep zone, then NREM, then there's the lucid dreaming. There's different type of dimensions that we're jumping all the time. For the people in the mental health world, you diagnose patients with schizophrenia here. But you don't know what's happening to them spiritually. Medical world, I respect the doctors, we need it, everything is perfect. But why are they having these kind of symptoms? Why are they not grounded? Where is their spiritual energy imbalanced? And even us, as normal human beings with a physical body, if I put my hands into the switch, the outlet, I'm going to get a little jolt. I'm going to get a shock. Because electricity is used for light bulbs, for blenders and cooking and all that. But if I touch this source, I get a shock. Now, spiritually, if I am not guided by the right guru and I touch the highest consciousness, you get that biggest jolt that you cannot handle at a spiritual level. So psychosis and other medical conditions can be seen through the 12th house if a person is not spiritually balanced. Quickly, higher astrology, change. So why are these people feeling isolated away from the world, that nobody gets them and stuff? Change is seen 8 houses away. 8th house defines change. But for you guys, my friend, the 8th house is what? 12th house first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. The 7th house is 8 houses away from the 12th house where your consciousness is. And who is in the 7th house? It's your partner. You're feeling very distanced from your marriage partner, probably. Maybe you already got a divorce. Maybe you're thinking about a divorce, or maybe you don't want to be living with this person. And because Ketu detaches you so much from the inside, from your partner, that you don't know if you want to stay in the marriage or not. You want to be away from home or these people. And it's not only 7th house is not only the house of your partner or marriage. And it doesn't mean that you will get a divorce. You just feel so distant from your partner. And who else is seen from the 7th house? Remember, 7th house is the opposite of the first. So if the first house is here, what's opposite? It's the 7th house. And who is 7th house? Is anybody that you see with your eyes open, the people that you interact with on day-to-day basis, your co-workers, your friend, your colleagues, your relatives, everybody. So what's happening? You're growing spiritually. You're tapping into dimensions here. You're able to get all these downloads, the knowledge of the other worlds. And you want to talk to these kind of people every day. But these people don't understand you. So 8th house away was the 7th house. These people that you're interacting with, they're not resonating with you anymore because your frequency is at a much higher level. The conversations that you want to have don't resonate with these people. These people want to talk about politics and the show they watched, the movie they watched, they went shopping. But you want to tell them what you saw, the outer world experience that you had in your Ketu awakening. These people will never get you. So what you do, you just mute, and the more you talk, the more psychotic they think you have become. Because all of a sudden, this person was part of that group. Now all of a sudden you had your Ketu Mahadasha awakening. Now you're not talking the same things these people talk. You want to talk about something higher dimension, higher stuff. And these people, they outcast you. So back in the day, from the village, from the society, these yogis and monks, they had to leave the village, go sit in mountains and stuff. Now you're being isolated from the society. You have to work to pay your bills, but at work, you're eating your lunch alone. You're sitting in the office alone because you can't even talk to anybody, because all you want to do is talk about how in your sleep, in your astral travel, you went and saw different dimensions last night. Just the other day, I'll give an example, because I do heavy astral traveling. Sometimes when I go, just so you feel like you're not alone. The other day, I told my friend about this one, and in my dream, I have this intense experience. I'm so far from all the galaxies in the... I almost got like a bird's eye view of all the different galaxies out there. And when I saw how small we are as planet Earth, our Milky Way galaxy, compared to what actually exists out there, I woke up in shock. I was speechless for a few hours, thinking that we're nothing. How vast and big the whole cosmos really is. Now, how do I explain this kind of conversation to somebody, like a normal friend, what kind of dream I just experienced? People with heavy 12th house, since it's depending on what planets are there with Ketu, like let's say for example if Venus is there, the significator of love and sensuality and stuff, you probably have very intense sexual dreams with your soulmates and stuff like that. So 12th house quality traits, what planets play, I'll do a different video. But with Ketu here, I just want to tell you, you guys are very, very different. Did you notice throughout the whole video, I didn't say the word moksha once? So my perspective, my take on this was very different, was very intense. Now, what are you... Loss is seen 12th house away. So I've talked about change. And what are you being asked to let go? The loss is seen 12 houses away. 12th from the 12th is the 11th house. You got to give up your desires, your friendships. Maybe your relationship with siblings is gone now, especially elder siblings. From the community, you're isolated because it's your immediate community where you want to serve, seva. That's all seen from the 12th house. Now you're isolated from the community. So basically, you get isolated. All the 11th house stuff, desire, everything goes. And hence why you're almost like a monk or a yogi. And what's a benefit on the positive side? The rewards are seen 2 houses away. And you, my beautiful friend behind the camera, you're a very beautiful soul. You have the power to go between dimensions. You have very special spiritual talents. I would love to connect with you. I would love to hear your experience, how your Ketu journey is going, because your conversation with me is going to be very different from anyone that I've talked to with all the other house placements. Some are losing family, money, this, that, bankruptcy. But you guys, I want to talk to you about your astral travels, your experiences in the high dimensions, what your journeys have been like. Let's connect. So the rewards are you, because 2 houses away, 12th house, first house, you in this physical form are able to tell to the human world what actually happens in the higher dimensions, what kind of knowledge lies there. So yeah, do share your experience in the comments and or reach out to me. I would love to hear from you guys. If you have stayed this long, you have been interested in this very unique kind of video, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for giving all this love. Thank you for resonating. And I hope you have learned something new as well. And if there's something I have missed, please do leave it in the comments for others. I'll learn from your comments as well. So do share your knowledge, because your experience of what you have gone through, Ketu, I said that's knowledge. Experience is knowledge that we leave behind for the world. So please share your experience, your knowledge. And I hope I have a couple more videos that I want to sum up that I'm going to make for Ketu in the next coming few days. And that will be a wrap for Ketu in the houses, Ketu Mahadasha. And then I'll do some other stuff that I want to get into. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And I hope everyone is having a very happy healing journey. And stay blessed from the bottom of my heart. I love you guys. 12th house. You guys are not outcasts. You just are different. Very spiritually aligned. Have a good night, my friends. Thank you.